MS, MBA, PhD. Which one is the best? Which one should you choose? And which one is going to make you the most money? Let's look at it right now. Okay, so let's break it down. All right. So first, what I'm going to do is you should probably know what each of these degrees are. Right. So an MS degree, I don't just mean Master of Science, but I mean Masters of anything. Master of Arts, Master of Science, Master of something. And an MBA, of course, is Masters in Business Administration. And then PhD is, of course, Doctor of Philosophy. And these three are the degrees we're going to go through today. Okay, so first, the thing is, when it comes to choosing these three things, there's going to be a lot of information on the internet, but most of this information is not going to help you make a decision. So what I'm going to do is, first, I'm going to post the basic stuff that you need to know about these three degrees. Okay, so here it is. That information that you just saw is not going to help you make a decision because that's just the basic information, right? So what we're going to do is, in this video, we're going to break down each of these three degrees, and we're going to focus on the content, what exactly you're going to be studying in each degree, the career, what career are you going to have after you graduate, as well as the wealth, as in how much money will you make in, having each of these degrees, and how much money will you make in your career, and so on. First thing we're going to look at is content. So content is going to focus on what exactly are you going to be learning in these three degrees, because each degree, like the MS program is generally 2 years, MBA also generally 2 years, PhD can range, 3 to 6 years. So I want you guys to know, what exactly are you getting into? What are you going to be learning in these degrees? And that's what we're going to look at. Now, there's going to be a lot of variation between universities and countries and programs. So let me just tell you in general what these programs look like. In a master's degree, you're going to learn courses within your own designation. So that means, if you are, let's say like me, if you are a mechanical engineer, then a master's in mechanical engineering means that you learn exactly, mechanical engineering concepts. Pretty straightforward. Generally, these courses will tend to be a little bit more theoretical and not too real world oriented. It's going to be more project oriented. And you are going to learn some new hard skills. So that means, maybe some programming if you haven't picked it up yet, or maybe some designing or machining, specifically for mechanical engineering. These are the kind of concepts that you would learn. Whatever specialization that you're from, you would learn, hard skills based on that particular specialization. Now, the thing about MS degrees is that they offer some kind of flexibility where you can take a few courses from different streams and, diversify your degree. For example, for the Master's in Mechanical Engineering degree at the University of Pennsylvania, you can take classes, from computer science, from electronics, from other elements of engineering, or you can even take business courses. So this allows you to, customize the degree to whatever you want to learn. And, you can add different elements of different engineering streams or different subjects altogether. There's going to be some limitations, but for the most part, you have a good bit of freedom. Now, when it comes to MS degrees, research is optional, right? So generally they have like a thesis-based program where you need to do some kind of research, projects, and have like a thesis at the very end. Or you'll have like a coursework-based program, which is just projects, and there's no thesis involved. You just pass all the classes and you're done. And the thing about master's degrees is that it's really only for people who are serious about their stream. So if you are, if you come from a background, that you are really, really interested in, and that's the career that you want to pursue, and that's the area where you want to specialize in, then a master's degree is for you. Now, when it comes to an MS degree, switching streams is possible. So there's like a ton of people, who switch from whatever type of engineering into computer science, or maybe, whatever type of background into master's in finance and so on. So career switching is definitely possible through a master's degree. There's going to be some requirements, depending on this degree or the university you're applying to. Definitely go and check that out and before you make any decisions, okay? Next is the PhD. So the PhD is a very research-oriented degree, right? So mainly it's going to be about research. So depending on the program you apply to, you may have a PhD program where you also take courses, right? You may have to take, you may have to complete a couple credits of courses. You may have to take just a few here and there just to support your research work. Or a PhD, especially in the European countries, a PhD would look like just research, right? So you would already have the knowledge within you, and then you would just be focusing on the research, and that's how you would be getting your PhD. Now, PhD program can be fun if you really like research. You really see yourself, being in your background for a long time and really progressing science in that particular field. Next, let's get to the MBA, which is generally the money degree. So within the MBA, you're going to be learning a lot of business-related concepts, right? So you may take courses like financial accounting, data analysis, decision-making, organizational communication, operations management, case problems in business law, so on. So you can see that all these courses are very, businessy related, business kind of stuff. So if you like business, then this is the place to be, right? And the thing about MBA that, what you can do is you can actually specialize within one or even two areas within an MBA program. There's a couple different specializations that you can follow. For example, there is accounting, business analytics, entrepreneurship and innovation, finance, insurance, risk management, international business, operations, information decisions, and strategic management. So this allows you to switch from your current background into a more business-focused area. So that's what a lot of people do. They do some kind of random engineering degree, in their bachelor's, and then they just switch over to like business-oriented stuff by taking an MBA. Now, classes are going to be less theoretical and more practical, right? So MBA programs love case studies, so they're going to be having you analyze case studies, all the time. They may even, invite like actual business owners, from maybe in the neighborhood, and then they'll tell you about their problems, and then as business students, you would come up with solutions that they can implement, in the real life and improve their business. MBA program is really flexible, really cool. You have opportunities for study abroad. You can help, like I said, you can help actual businesses. You have, like say, practical entrepreneurship experience, so on, right? And the thing about MBA programs is that they really encourage extracurriculars. That means, sports, taking part in activities, joining clubs, attending fairs and all that kind of stuff, right? So they're really, really focused on building your network, doing as many different things as you can, learning as many different skills as you can, and so on. So that's what an MBA degree sort of looks like. Now, an MBA degree is generally considered more fun because, like I said, it's less theoretical, more practical. And you'll be attending a bunch of fairs, you really be mixing and mingling with people. So it's generally considered the most fun degree. So when it comes to career, the career can be vastly different depending on each degree you take, or it can be somewhat generic as well. For example, you'll find that, the R&D heads of most companies will be, PhD candidates, PhD doctors, right? So they will lead the R&D sector and, they may even become CTO or, CFO, so on. But then you'll find that, other CTOs and other CEOs, whatever, maybe, may just have a master's degree or maybe an MBA degree and so on. So generally you'll find that, at the executive level, at the vice president level, you'll have like a good mix. If you're looking for the more technical side, then you will find PhD sitting at the top, especially focused on, R&D. Now let's look at the kind of career you can get if you take a master's degree. So generally, if you take a master's degree, you will be working in your stream, but then you will have a better role. So the thing is, you can get more specialized jobs within your particular domain. So let's say you are an electronics engineer with a bachelor's degree. So if you want to specialize in, say, VLSI, then you would take a master's degree that focused on, embedded systems, VLSI, all that kind of stuff, and then get a job that focuses just on VLSI. Now, this is going to make you a better applicant for these kind of jobs, because you have a master's degree that is focused on those jobs. There is a misconception that, taking an MS degree may not lead to managerial roles and stuff. And that's, that's mainly what an MBA is for, but that's not true. You can definitely be a project leader, a team leader, and even get manager positions with a master's degree. It may not happen immediately because maybe you don't have the work experience or maybe you don't have the work experience to support that, but it will happen eventually. You can definitely get a managerial position. The thing about master's degrees is that, generally when you take a master's degree, you're going to be focusing on more product rather than people. Of course, it's not going to be true for every single degree, but let's say you are focused on the, one of the engineering degrees or maybe, master's in, say, geography or something, right? So generally what you're going to be doing is you're going to be focused more on your particular domain and, maybe advancing the products in your domain, advancing the research in your domain, but you're not going to be too focused on people. Generally, the MBA is a more people-oriented degree. You'll be networking, connecting with so many people, so on. With a master's degree, you may not be doing that. You may be focused more on your product or your service. And this is generally the product over people kind of degree. Next, let's get into the PhD. So like I said, your PhD is all about research. So graduating with a PhD degree, then you are definitely going to be moving towards the research side of companies, right? And it's also possible for you to get into academia. And in many cases, if you want to get a job at a good university, you will definitely need a PhD. So if you're looking to become a college professor, then definitely a PhD should be in your future. Now, you can also get into like research wings of companies or, governmental organizations focused on research. that's definitely possible as well. Now, the thing about the PhD is that you will tend to be a little bit overqualified for a lot of jobs. So this means that, you will definitely need to be working in your niche. So if you take a PhD in embedded systems, then that is particularly the niche that where you're going to find your jobs. You're not going to find, a normal embedded systems, like a trainee kind of job. That you're going to be way too overqualified for that. You're going to be focused on, embedded system research or embedded system product development and so on. So PhD jobs, are very, very niche. So once you specialize in a particular domain, then you are probably going to be stuck with that domain for the rest of your life. Now, if you are really, really excited about your domain and your stream, then definitely you can take a PhD and then you'll be super happy with your career. But if you're not too enthusiastic, then I'm sorry, dude, but you're stuck. Next, we have the MBA. So like I said, in the MBA, you can specialize in one or two areas. So generally after you graduate, you will be working at a company, at a role that is focused on the domain that you specialized in. Now, you can either work in product companies, service companies, or even consulting companies. So generally consulting is, where the money is at. Now, generally what happens is when people apply for MBA programs, they already have 3, 4, 5, 6 years of work experience. So once they graduate from the program, they may be directly put into a managerial role simply because they have work experience and maybe they have some kind of team leadership skills and stuff that they learned through their degree. Now, it's very possible for you to become an entrepreneur after an MBA program as well, because generally entrepreneurship is also a specialization that you can focus on for a lot of MBA degrees. Generally, MBA tends to be a more people over product degree. So you're going to be focused more on, people, the customers, and maybe even if you're leading a team, you're going to be focused on how well the team works together, how well they can produce the results, how to increase efficiency, how to keep everyone happy, that kind of stuff. The thing about the MBA is there's going to be a huge variety of jobs. So even if you did specialize in one particular area, that doesn't mean you're only going to get jobs in that particular area. You can also specialize, completely pivot, and there's a lot of flexibility when it comes to taking an MBA degree. And the thing about the MBA degree is that it can be done after you take your MS, or after you take your PhD and so on. So it generally requires work experience, right? So what people do is, maybe they'll take a master's degree, then they'll wait a couple of years, then they'll take an MBA. Or maybe even people take a PhD and then wait a couple of years and then take an MBA, right? And sometimes it's vice versa as well. Next, let's talk about the money, right? So now we've covered the content, what are you going to learn? We've covered the career, what does your career look like? Now let's look at money, how much money you're going to earn. Now, again, there's going to be a huge variation in the amount of money that you earn depending on each degree. I'm going to try to give you some kind of basic general information that you can use in order to make a decision. First thing is for master's degrees. So master's degrees, generally, you will end up with a better paying role. So master's degrees generally have a good ROI, you'll be making good money and so on. It's definitely more money than having just a bachelor's degree. It will probably give you a lower pay than a PhD job. Because like I said, PhD jobs are very niche, very specialized. So they need someone who knows, everything about embedded systems. That's going to be a PhD role. So you are probably maybe not going to get that role if you don't have the experience, or if you don't have the knowledge. So you might get paid a little bit less than, PhD graduates. However, having a master's degree opens up a larger scope of jobs. So it's more likely that you'll find a job quicker than a PhD graduate. And generally what happens is the master's degree will be a less paid degree than the MBA. Simply because the MBA programs, most of them are focused on the business side, the finance side, and that is where the money is. So generally, if you're taking a master's degree, you may not be focused on an area or like a particular stream where there's a lot of money. But the exception is, of course, if you take like a master's in finance, then you're gonna end up in the finance sector, and we all know that's a ton of money. And next we have the PhD. So the PhD, you're going to have a higher pay than the master's degree for sure, because like I said, the jobs are very niche. They need like an expert on embedded systems. So they're going to hire like a PhD student or like a PhD graduate on embedded systems. Of course, there is going to be a difference in earning depending on the field that you are in. So some fields will generally pay a lot more for PhD candidates, and some fields may not pay as much for PhD candidates. It really depends. Next, we have the MBA. So as you guys know, the MBA is the highest paid degree because generally you'll be going to the business side of things. So generally stuff like finance and marketing will triumph over HR and the technology side of things. And that's just where the money is. If your sole purpose of, getting a higher degree is to make more money, then of course, MBA is the way to go. It is definitely the highest paid degree. So how do you make a decision? Well, you need to think about what is important to you and where you see your career going, right? There are a ton of people who take an MBA for the money, but then they don't end up making much money at all. There are a ton of people who take a master's degree because they feel it's the next logical step, and then they completely pivot around and work in like a completely different area. There are people who feel that, PhD is best for them, but then they drop out midway. So you need to really think about what you want to do in your life, where you want your career to go, what your goals are, and then choose a degree accordingly. In the end, it's not about which degree is best, it's more about which degree is best for you. So I hope this video helped you guys take one step closer into making your decision. And that's it from me for now. Take care. Bye-bye.